Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and you are watching 24 videos in 24 hours before YouTube changes their service and decides to take off channels that aren't commercially viable. Well, I know that my channel may not be viewed by most as commercially viable, but my guest here today has actually felt the wrath of YouTube, and it has been proven by leaked documents by Project Veritas. It is Gary Franchi from the Next News Network. You can follow him at Gary Franchi. First of all, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show, my friend. We've known each other for quite some time, but tell people how it feels to be a verified target of YouTube.
First of all, let me just say thanks for having me, Jason. It's great to talk to you again. It's been a long time. But when I saw my name leaked on those documents, it was a very terrifying moment, but it only verified what we already knew, that we have been targeted. We had all the analytics and all the data to tell us. We had the circumstantial evidence to tell us, and then all of a sudden the document comes out and people are messaging me on Twitter, they're texting my phone, and then I actually spoke with Zach Voorhees about that whole data dump as well, asking what his take was on it. But initially, yeah, it was pretty terrifying to say the least.
Well, let's talk about it because you've grown exponentially. It doesn't mean I have to agree with everything you say, but you're a free speech guy. That's how I met you. Lone Lantern Society. You know, it was always more speech is better speech, no matter what.
Always. Always.
If you've got something repugnant to say, well, I should be able to say something back. I should be able to make the counterpoint. I should be able to provide the evidence. And that's what this is all about. But when I looked at those documents and saw how heavily downranked you were and how ridiculous it was, I was just blown away. Despite that, you've hit a couple milestones. You're climbing forward just like me at a much bigger level. But again, you've had that channel now running, 7 years consistently?
Yeah, 7 years. We just broke 1 billion views last week, which was a major milestone. We just cracked 1.3 million subscribers, but it doesn't come without pain. You know, we're talking about the terms of service changes here, and it feels like every day I'm talking with my manager about the constant reactions that we find ourselves in every time there's an algorithmic shift. Every time there's a new policy, they catch people off guard. We see channels just completely deleted en masse with no explanation. So given the new terms of service that we're coming on to tonight, yeah, I mean, part of me is nervous about it, but the other part of me says, you know, after consultation with my manager, I said, should I be worried? And he says, no, Gary, your channel is commercially viable. So especially going into the election season, your channel is going to be seen as a channel that they're going to want to have advertising for different political campaigns. So it's a commercially viable element inside the YouTube ecosystem. So he doesn't think it's going to be a problem. But I mean, talking about all the changes, though, my biggest fear is not just in the political speech, but in just the children's channels that we're seeing now, which was at one point supposed to be like, you know, pristine, untouchable, family safe content. I find it to be ironic that, you know, they kept, after the big adpocalypse, they said, we want you to make family friendly content, advertiser friendly content. So there was this rush to make family friendly content. And even I started a kids channel. I got 3 boys. I love playing with toys. I love taking them to amusement parks and having fun. So I'm like, okay, we'll have this family-friendly channel and see where that goes. Who knows where that'll be in 10 years? And YouTube wants us to make family-friendly content. Well, all of a sudden they come out with this COPPA law because they lost the huge lawsuit in New York, and now they say, nah, family-friendly content not so good. And then on top of that, in Susan Wojcicki's quarterly letter, she tells everybody, oh, guess what? By the way, we're going to start trying to pair up risky content with more risky advertisers. So if you see a rated R movie preview, they're going to isolate that content to people who are 18 and older, and they got to find that content. So it's like the pendulum swings back and forth, and you've got someone at the helm who just, I don't think, really knows what they're doing.
Well, let's talk
And
about that a little bit because the COPPA changes are coming almost in the same swift swoop as this other change to their terms of service. And here's my problem. Like you said, they encouraged people to do that. But what are we going to see? We're going to see selective enforcement. Let me give you an example. I have friends, they started a very small YouTube channel, Healthy Junk Food, as in hell below, the junk food. Great stuff. They've grown it to 2.2 million subscribers. They are now actually employed by YouTube. So YouTube is handpicking certain creators that do have an appeal to families. In fact, because most of their stuff is family friendly, my nieces who live with me, they watch their stuff. In fact, I had them come over. They live in Florida now, but they visit me. Take them to school. It was a big moment for the kids. They're obviously directed towards children, but there are some adult jokes in there. Do I think that they're ever going to get fined? No, I think they're safe. They work for YouTube. However, me, who marks every single one of my videos as adult, I like to think I'm a PG-13 and above channel. You're never going to see nudity. You're never going to see, hardcore anything here, but I'll curse, right? You'll see that in films. Well, when I expose something like Bella Thorne, who's this kid's actress, right, and then a thumbnail, I have the Disney kids, but she's talking about being raped from the time she was 6 to 14. Could I get a fine of $42,000 because my thumbnail with people with Disney ears might attract a child to watch that content? I don't know. I don't have a deal with YouTube. I don't have someone I can talk to. And if there's anything we've seen, especially with this administration and the media, selective enforcement and selective narratives are the new normal, Gary.
Well, I think you're right about the selective enforcement, and I do have concerns about COPA or COPPA, whatever you want to, I don't know how you pronounce it or whatever. But I think I've blanket tagged my entire channel as an adult channel. Mm-hmm. We deal with heavy political content on the channel, as you know. But my kids' channel has been clearly marked as kids. And it was interesting to see how when I did that, I could now compare the two channels exactly, and I could look at the analytic data. I can compare the two, see what's affecting what. And I noticed that my kids' channel started actually growing, strangely enough. And then, but there's no comments allowed. We haven't published a new video on that channel for some time, so we have some videos we're gonna release. And my kid actually uploaded a video to the channel the other day. It didn't tell us. I'm like, "What are you doing?" So
boy.
But what's funny, we were at a play, a Christmas play thing, and he was recording the play. But what was interesting that I noticed that when he uploaded the video, like there was 0 views because no notifications went out. And that's one of the things that happens if you have a kid's channel. Now, normally when we'd upload a video to that kid's channel, you get maybe 20 or 30, 50 views, right? Just right off the bat. The kid's channel's got 5,300 subscribers or so. So, my kid thinks he's a YouTube star. and it's funny when he talks to his kids, he tells them I'm a YouTuber. Anyway, but there's no views. So what I'm saying is this new thing is going to destroy the entire kids ecosystem. There will be selective enforcement, but there were some false positives on my channel that I noticed. I use an application called TubeBuddy. In TubeBuddy, you can run mass demonetization checks. You can run mass COPPA checks. And
they got the COPPA thing in there now? Interesting.
Yeah, so now you can run a COPPA check against your whole channel and see what happens. And I had about 25 videos that, according to their algorithm, were kid channel related, but they were really strange because it was like channel that had been already placed into restricted mode. And it just didn't make sense. Like an Apache helicopter blowing up terrorists was considered kids. So I didn't know how they could figure that. But so anyway, there's so many changes happening all the time with YouTube, and it's a constant moving target. We're lucky that we're still here, and we thank God that we're still here every day. But we're still getting about 1,000 to 2,000 new subscribers every day. But we have these moments where we have these massive drops, where we hit down to 60 or even negative, and then it just comes back up the next couple of days. But we have decided the only way to counter being removed from suggested videos, which is what recently happened, was to put a call to action into every video, a direct, concise call to action to tell people to subscribe, check their subscription status, and then tell their friends. And once we implemented that, we counterbalanced the removal of suggested videos, because being taken from suggested videos removed us from the ecosystem of our content being shown against other related content, keyword related content. And we had a 30%, Jason, 30% suggested reach in all of our videos all the time since we started, 30%. And then it dropped down to like 2%. So with that huge gap removed, now we don't have the ability to go out into the ecosystem and have the organic referral traffic based on the YouTube's systems. So that like tanked our subscribers to such a point that it was like, channel's going to die, or it's over. Like, if you don't have any positive growth, you only have negative growth. And so the call to action flipped that on its head, and we haven't stopped doing it since. And we've seen the direct result of that, Jason.
Well, let's talk about it, man. You pump out. Everybody thinks that like I'm amazing for doing like 3 to 7 videos a day, but the bottom line is I've seen you do. You average more along the lines of 8 to 14 videos a day, sometimes even more than that. And you're striking at the heart of the algorithm. You realize that if you're not going to put the work in, this isn't YouTube from 4 years ago, where if you put 1 or 2 videos out a week, everything's cool. And then it wasn't even really 1 or 2 videos a day. You have to keep on this like a grind. But at the same time, this is the platform that reaches now, in my opinion, globally more people than television does. So it's so important to stay on this platform. Yes, I simulcast to Periscope. Yes, I have a BitChute. Those are important too. But to be able to reach a mainstream audience, even if it's by, like you just said, word of mouth, somebody telling somebody about the channel on their little magic device and sharing a video quickly, and they say, hey, I'm going to pull that up on mine and hit the subscribe button. That's just as important to get the word out. So, you just said it, get on the grind, find different methods to make up for them trying to bounce you in the algorithm. What else would you have to say in closing to my audience?
Well, I also say to my people, share the videos, share them out through a text message. Text messages have like a 98% open rate versus email. And plus the way that they're manipulating social media on Facebook and on Twitter especially, and sometimes even with YouTube notifications, I say, you know what, just send a text message of this video to a friend if you like it.
I love that. I'm stealing that, Gary.
Yeah, go do it, because everyone's on their phone and the majority of traffic comes from mobile. So you might as well just say, hey, hit that little arrow button down below and then push it out through a text message. Send out a mass text to all your buddies on your phone and start with that, because everyone's on their phones. Everyone's going to see a YouTube link. They're familiar with that. But yeah, with respect to the grind, it's a numbers game these days. And every single video we upload is instantly demonetized. Mm-hmm. We have to immediately submit the videos for appeal. But strangely enough, every single video we put for appeal, we win about 99% of those appeals.
I wish I had your numbers.
Well, it's also because there's another thing that goes on. They balance the number of demonetized videos versus the number of monetized videos against the entire number of the channel, and that creates a ratio that they can say, how risky is this channel, right? Mm-hmm. So even Mark Dice had told me that he spoke to a YouTube representative, and one of the things he said was just delete all the demonetized videos on your channel. Just delete them all. Back them up, delete them, so that way that number will change, and then suddenly you'll have a better chance, so that when that personal reviewer is looking at that video and they're going, how many other demonetized videos does this person have? Is this person a risk? So, they don't have that many? Well, then I'm just going to skip to the next one, green light it, skip to the next. So there's a lot of different elements that you can do to try to change that ratio. And if you don't want to delete the videos, you just make more. Just make more videos. We put out 10 to 15 a day, and that's simply because that's just what we've been doing for the longest time. But it's turned out to be a benefit because we have such a massive footprint on YouTube with 30,000 videos. Mm-hmm. That our ratio of monetized to demonetized is negligible. So I believe that's why we have to do the appeal. But another point we also have to do on every upload, we have to self-police, Jason. We have to go through a checklist of like 10 different questions. And we would say, does the video contain this? Does the video contain this? Does the video contain this? This? Yes or no? Like they gave you a series of like qualifiers. And if you hit the wrong buttons, your video will get demonetized. So we have to do that on every single video. It's
I've seen
those. A lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah, it's a lot of hoops, and quite frankly, I won't be deleting. And unfortunately, I have over 100 Epstein videos at this point because I've been covering it long before. He was even arrested. Obviously, I've been.
I remember you talked to me about it a long time ago, and I was like, "What are you talking about, man? Like, you had some deep stuff going on back then." And I was like, "Whoa, what are you like?" I'm like, "I don't touch that topic, like because of the demonetization aspect. Like, I don't even go there because it's such a keyword negative topic. So all of a sudden, it's like everywhere. It's everywhere." And I'm like, yeah, they're not going to be able to manipulate the algorithm for this anymore. So that's sort of like opened the floodgates. But yeah, you were definitely at the front end of that whole thing.
Well, I would say 99% of those videos are demonetized. But like at the same time, I think something like 4 or 5 of them with the Epstein name or the thing are monetized. So you don't know which one. Like recently, I've got one with Bill Clinton. It's got a decent amount of views for my channel, and it is monetized. But then I did a follow-up talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, and forget it, that one is. And, like I said, I'm not taking any of my stuff down. I believe in what I say. If they want to demonetize it, that's fine. But I think I should have a voice. And I think you should have a voice. And I think everybody should have a voice. And this idea that a channel's not commercially viable or they decide it's not, selective enforcement, is scary. So if you want to check out Gary Franchi, check out the Next News Network on YouTube and definitely follow him on Twitter as well. Gary, I want to thank you for coming in, my man.
Well, hey, it's always great to talk to you, Jason, and keep up the great work. And hopefully we'll see you in the next 24 hours. Make it through this possible purge. So I'll keep my fingers crossed.
And you know what? What a way to go out if I do. And guys, I'm doing it 3 to 7 times a day. So not only thumbs up, share, subscribe, join the Burma Brigade. Let's get to 40K, 50K, 100K. How about we start text messaging them out like Gary said? I think that's a huge and great idea. All my documentary films are free right here in the playlist section under documentaries, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. And you can financially support me right here on my GoFundMe. That's how we do it. No Patreon, no Subscribe Star. That's it. I absolutely love you guys. Thanks for joining me. 24 videos in 24 hours. We'll see you on the flip side.